Welcome to Conversations with K and J. We're your hosts, Kayla and Janae.
And here, we talk about love, life,
and lessons learned. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Daily Doses of Conversations with Kayla
and Janae.
And today's energy, we are looking into moving beyond your old ways. There comes a point in time where our old ways of thinking and being cease to work. We get comfortable and we feel safe, and then all of a sudden, we're forced to change. Not to say our old ways are bad, but no growth comes from comfort in staying the same. Sometimes we are awake enough to hear the whispers from the universe telling us it's time to change. Other times we don't hear, and the universe takes matters into its own hands, forcing us to change. Let us move beyond our old ways into a new, more awake version of ourselves. What you think?
I think that's just saying that the universe is gonna force you to change if you're not willing to change. Or maybe it's not willing to change. I think sometimes we too scared to take those steps, and then the universe will. They like, all right, well, if you ain't gonna do it, we're gonna push you to do it.
Push you on out there.
We're gonna push you out there, and at that point, you really ain't got no choice.
Right. So I think this is going to pretty much sum up this week's energy of what we've been speaking on. And in this case, this came out with the Sun and the Five of Swords. So to sum that up really quickly, the Sun signifies that healing has already occurred within you, within your life, within your reality. But our mind, with this Five of Swords, may be replaying old perspectives, mindsets, and structures that are causing us to have this type of tension within our reality that is no longer there. It's not really there. It's just an illusion at this point. And so if we look at every episode that we've had this week, this is really about seeing beyond the veil, seeing yourself and your life in a more healed perspective, no longer feeling like old stories or patterns are going to repeat moving forward, because you are not the same as you used to be. Even if you are dealing with the same kind of people or situations, it has a renewed perspective that needs your attention. Like, it's seeing it through a different lens. And the thing that I'm feeling within this energy is there's tension or there's pullback from you, because maybe you are afraid that you're going to handle or react in the same old way, and you're not giving yourself credit. So this could ultimately be saying that we are our worst enemy at this point in time in life, by maybe in the past thinking other people didn't allow us a chance to show ourselves or show them who we really are or what we really stood on. But it's like us not doing that for ourselves now. Like, we're holding ourselves back. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's pretty much just saying, like, your heart already made the decision, but your mind is playing tricks on you.
Yes. Yeah. So the Sun, in the back of the Sun, we have the Six of Pentacles, right? So when we think of Pentacles, we're talking about like reality, physical things. It could be money, but in this case, we're going to say it's your day-to-day life. In some way, you have an imbalance because you are not giving yourself credit for the healing or for the transformation that has happened within you and your reality. It's still looking through the lenses of an old prescription. Without realizing that your eyes have changed. Does that make sense? And then now you're squinting and making it harder to see and causing more damage to your eyes, because you're trying to view it through an old prescription instead of realizing that you have a new prescription.
Right.
Yeah. That's the best way I could put it.
Yeah. The easiest way for me is like in a relationship when when you come to the conclusion that you like, I can do bad all by myself type thing. So your heart has already told you, like, I don't want to be with this person anymore. And, like, it doesn't bring nothing to the table. But your mind is telling you that, like, girl, you're going to be lonely. You ain't going to have no man. You're going to be, But you told yourself, I could do better by myself. Like, I don't need to stay in this relationship. I'm not going to be sad and lonely about losing this person.
Yeah. Yeah. So what happens when you stay knowing you should go?
Like we talked about yesterday, you're then just making drama. Like, you're unhappy.
Yeah, that's the imbalance.
Right. Then drama just starts to just come, and it's always going to be something where the universe is trying to force you to just leave. And that's where the force is. Like, there's a decision you have to make, and when you don't and you sit on it for so long, then there's going to be an even bigger dramatic situation that's going to then force you to leave.
Right. So that's why the sun came out with the 5 of Swords. So whether this is you against yourself, or if you are dealing with other people within your environment, this is knowing when to call it what it is and remove yourself.
Right. That's with a relationship, with a job, with a friendship, with just making any type of decision. Period.
Yeah, I agree. Again, it still very much connects to yesterday's message. So maybe just a continuation of what we were speaking on in episode 14. But this Queen of Swords is about you setting boundaries and being very firm on those boundaries so that no one comes in to take your peace or to backtrack the healing that you have already done. Because again, though you may feel imbalanced, you have come into a balance. Giving into the past or the people that cause these distractions is the illusions that are in place to make you feel like you still ain't got it together.
Right, you're making the wrong choice.
Yeah. So I did want to read the back card because I think that was pretty good. It said the beauty of not knowing. Animals are the best reminder of living in the beauty of not knowing. House cats wake up not knowing what the day will hold and sunbathe without a worry in the world. Dogs wake up with wagging tails, showing their humans unconditional love, trusting they will be fed and walked. We humans could learn a lot from animals. We tend to overcomplicate things. We try to know what cannot be known. But the lesson in watching animals in nature is trusting that the unknown in life will unfold exactly as it should. So ultimately, this is letting go of everything that you thought you knew or everything that was so that you can embrace and bring in something new.
Right. Don't go into work expecting work to be miserable. Maybe go into work expecting to have a good day. Like, claim it. Claim your day to be what you want your day to be. Now, you don't know if it's going to be, but I mean, it's a lot better to have some hope than to expect something bad to happen.
Right. So if you were to take away the things that you feel have played a part into your imbalances or you not being able to fully embrace yourself, how does that look? What does that entail? Like what would your life reflect at that point? Because again, when we hold on to people and things that we feel like we have to out of obligation, out of history, out of experience in some sense, we end up holding ourselves back. That's no different than your example you just gave in a relationship sense. If we are in this place of feeling like I can do bad all by myself, but then staying connected to a person because we feel like, well, what if there's not anyone else out there for me? You're still limiting your own growth in perspective of what life could be when you're already settling for something that shows you that there's more for you.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And you're not going to know what you're going to get next. But if you set the intention that I can do better all by myself and next is only going to be a better person for me or it's going to be my person, that's the beauty of not knowing.
Right.
You're not going to know how long it's going to take. You're not going to know when, where, how, what they're going to look like. But the beauty is like, I still have hope and love. So
yeah, that's true.
I know it's coming towards me because I learned this lesson that this isn't what I want, and I've made a good, hard decision that my heart says I don't want to be here anymore. And if you stop letting your mind play tricks on you that it's going to be like the past, then you only going to move into a beauty of unknowing.
Yeah. I feel like I just kind of had a back and forth commenting thing on TikTok. This guy made a video about marriage and divorce, and he's going through a divorce right now. And I was commenting to give him encouragement to not give up, because he was saying that he had red flags as he was getting married, and now he's stuck in the middle of a divorce that is taking a lot of his time, his energy, and his money. And so his message was pretty much telling people, like, you probably want to think twice about this, because it's easy to get into it and hard to get out of it, which is true. Been there, done that. But what I wanted to encourage him was to not give up on it if God really put it on his heart to be married. That was just a lesson that he needed to go through in order to really figure out what was for him and what was not for him. And a lot of times we seek things in life, whether it's relationships, marriage, or career, off the basis of what other people told us it should be and look like. And you would have to go through it and fail at it in order to get it right in the sense of what works for you. And so I resonated with that, because after my first divorce, I was just feeling like, I don't want to get married like ever again, just because it just was not what I thought it was going to be. But then I also had to take accountability that I was making choices and settling on things that I knew from the beginning were not for me. Just like he said, there were red flags in the beginning. But when that's the moment that you have to start paying attention to things. And again, it's not necessarily saying right in that moment that you're settling. It's just telling you that something is not right, or is not supportive for how you see yourself or where you want to go in life. And again, that isn't your sign to give up. It is your sign to redirect what that is for you and how that is for you. And if I had closed that door and closed myself off to it, I would have been missing this.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So, I mean, it's a crazy example, but I think that life can take you through ups and downs and make you feel discouraged. I mean, at that point I had a child, and I was like, oh my God, I'm be a single mother and no one's going to want me and this and that. I mean, you can think of every bad thing that there is, but faith in God outweighs it all at the end of the day. That's what I'm saying. I mean, I felt defeated, but then God kept telling me, like, if you want love, there's love for you, but you got to know what you want. You got to know your worth and your value, and you got to stand on that. And that was the advice I gave. Like, you're going through all of this so that you can know your own worth and value, because that's going to be the key to anything that you attract in life. No matter what, relationships or work or anything like that. If you don't know your own worth, you're going to accept anything, and you're never going to truly be fulfilled.
Right. That's just saying, like, everything has the good and the bad to it. Like, love is the most painful thing to experience, but it can be the most, like, fulfilling thing to experience. And life can be the ugliest and then can be the most beautiful thing.
Yeah.
When you look out the window. Like,
yeah.
There's a good and the bad, but you got to go through both. You got to go through the bad to get to the good. And that just goes with this week's episodes of, like, you got to go through the dark to get to the light. It all makes sense. It all can be, like, really simple as that.
Yeah. And you got to go through the illusion of other people and things in order to see yourself. Because, again, I think in the spiritual community, we are being pushed a narrative that, like, everyone is a reflection of you. And some people take that to, like, the highest extent within thinking that because, again, you attract a liar or a cheater in your life means that that's trying to show you something about yourself, when you know you're not a liar or a cheater. It is reflecting in a different way. It is showing you what you are not, and that you should embrace that you are not like that. But you shouldn't be cheating and lying to yourself by accepting things and people who put out energy that is not balanced like you.
Right. I
Does that
mean,
make
it may not be a reflection, but it's also telling you that you may be doing and being a certain way that is attracting that. Like if you're not standing up for yourself, you're going to attract a liar and a cheater, right? Because you haven't learned yet to speak up.
Right. That's what I said. You're
Right.
lying and cheating yourself.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, I just think that, on the surface level, people take it as like, oh, well, if that's what I'm attracting, that must be what I am. Like, no, it's not, because I'm pretty sure you and I both have dealt with people in our past that just reflect the complete opposite, which is something, again, to learn from and to also know what is for you and what is not for you.
Right.
And so when we look behind the sun, you have the Three of Wands. So this is seeing things from within, because even behind the Six of Pentacles, we have the Hermit. So this is about you needing to go within and seek guidance from within yourself, because this eye on the Three of Wands is very much giving like your third eye, which means your higher self could be trying to speak through you and show you things that are coming towards you, whether this is in your dream state or this is within the things that you're watching or seeing play out in your reality. You have things that are trying to get your attention. And the only way that you can come into attracting these things in your life is by removing the old perceptions and mindsets and how you see life in general, right? So if we think money, then this is removing your lack mentality of like, oh, I always grew up thinking that I would live paycheck to paycheck because that's all I seen. That doesn't, it's not a bad thing because it's something you were raised within. But when you start to realize like I'm worthy of having more than enough because I put in the energy and the effort and I deserve it, you start to attract a whole new reality. But some people, they settle for certain things in life, and I think, again, during the pandemic, the spiritual community was in a back and forth because you had a lot of spiritualists saying that like Black people were poor because of our mindsets. And to an extent, that is the truth. Like, yes, there's oppression. There's things that are in place to keep us in that lack mindset for sure. But it's about challenging that, like regardless of your color. I'm saying the things that present themselves in your reality, you still have to push past those illusions because you can be more than what you've seen and what has been laid out for you. But you definitely have to do the work on yourself. A person, again, who never came from much and has not put in any effort to become more, like real effort, not taking shortcuts and cheating people, they're going to be stuck thinking that's all that they will ever have. But when you really go out and you do the work and you put in the energy, then you should know that that's going to come back to you.
Right. I think that goes hand in hand with because people want to say, I don't know nothing about that, so how can I acquire it? And that's the beauty of not knowing.
Yes. Yeah.
And you're gonna start from level 1 and starting from the beginning, then you gain all the knowledge because you're gonna put in the work to learn everything. You'll know it. You'll perfect it. It's better to learn something than somebody to hand you it.
Yeah.
And then you don't know how to get there. You don't even know how to begin. It's like building something, right? Like,
yeah, it's like some managers and supervisors that just been handed a role and don't even know how to do the work that they're supervising over.
Right.
No, your strongest manager or supervisor is going to be someone who actually played a part in that role and worked their way up, who knows the ins and outs. That's going to be your strongest person. And so, again, whether you're dealing with other people or this is for yourself, you haven't went through anything that you've experienced for nothing, and it's getting to a point where things are turning around for you to, I'm hearing, embrace it. But this is more so of you being able to see another side of yourself is what it feels like. So don't be afraid to start setting new boundaries around yourself and your energy and the things that again you're building, creating, and connected to. Because behind the Queen of Swords, you have this Nine of Pentacles energy, which means you're about to come into a lot that other people will just want to grab and take if they could. You know, by thinking that you're still the same old you who's just going to give and, you know, just freely be there for other people when you already have this knowing and perspective that you are only going to show up that way for people who actually deserve it this time. You know?
Yeah.
All right. So
I think that's the message.
yeah, I think we'll wrap it up there, y'all. Have a safe and beautiful weekend. We love you, and we will talk to you next week. Bye.